Welcome to For Book Lovers Only Live Radio, where we discuss amazing books written by talented authors. For Book Lovers Only Live Radio is a proud member of the Village Connector Media Network. If you love books, we have a home for you. Now time for your host and chief book lover, Rob Brown.
Hello, book lovers and book fans. Welcome to For Book Lovers Only Live Radio, where if you love books, we have a home for you. My name is Rob Brown, your internet radio host and chief book lover. We are extremely excited about today's broadcast. We have two author guests whom we'll be calling today, which is always fun. We love to chat on the phone with our talented authors, so we are really excited about today's broadcast. If you haven't joined our Book Lovers Club yet, please feel free. We welcome you to by visiting www.forbookloversonly.com. That's www.forbookloversonly.com. You can submit your name and email address and then click here to join. Hit the click here to join button. It's totally free, and you'll even receive a free gift for joining. So if you haven't already, please do so today. We would love to invite you into our Book Lovers Club. A few quick announcements about some upcoming events. The Literary Hill Book Fest is coming in 1 week. It will be on Sunday, May the 7th in Washington, D.C. in the Eastern Market neighborhood. It's a wonderful day for books and book readers in our nation's capital. There will be discussions, readings, signings with the best local writers of memoirs and fiction, politics, poetry, history, sports, food, and fantasy. There will also be children's books as well. For more information, please visit www.literaryhillbookfest.org. That's www.literaryhillbookfest.org. And last but not least, yours truly will be giving a presentation for business development professionals for the Association for Talent Development's Metro DC chapter titled The Free Agent and Networking, How to Make the Most of Your Networking Opportunities. That will be on Tuesday, May the 9th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the University of Virginia's Northern Virginia Center. I will be discussing the three types of networkers in addition to tried and true strategies and techniques from my upcoming book, No Business Cards Allowed, such as the 4 C's of networking, the EB pivot, and how to define the maybe. The event is free, and you can register by going to the link at the bottom of the page, and I hope to see you there. Before we bring out our two guests for today, I want to pause for a quick broadcast ID. My name is Rob Brown, your internet radio host and chief book lover, and this is For Book Lovers Only Live Radio, where if you love books, we have a home for you. Please share this broadcast and feel free to write comments in the comment section at the bottom of the screen, at the bottom of this page. You can go ahead and share by clicking the share button at the bottom of your page and share it with your family and friends. Also, feel free to write me directly at rob@forbookloversonly.com. That's rob@forbookloversonly.com. I would like to definitely get your feedback about the website, about our internet television show, our internet radio show, and new books and new authors that you like to see us profile on the show. So please feel free to write me. Once again, rob@forbookloversonly.com. Looking forward to hearing from you. Now, today's first guest is a public school teacher. She's a veterinarian, a mother, and foster parent. As she watched many kids struggle to find themselves represented in popular culture, she decided to look for books where the characters faced the types of adversity she saw challenging children every day. Jill wanted to find a kids' chapter book where the main character worked through mental and physical health issues in a compassionate manner. When she was unable to find the type of book that she wanted, she took the initiative and decided to write it herself. It's titled The Cloud at the End of My Rainbow, and her name is Jill Sammet, and we are going to call Jill right now.
Hello?
Hello, Jill?
Yes,
Hi, Jill. This is Rob Brown at For Book Lovers Only Live Radio. How are you?
doing great, thanks.
Good. So thank you so much for taking time out to chat with us. We are so excited about you and your book and want to give you a quick opportunity to introduce yourself to our book lovers and our book fans.
I'm Jill Samet. My first book in the series is The Cloud at the End of My Rainbow. It is aimed at tweens, although I've seen quite a growing following from the teenage set, and it follows a young lady who's dealing with anxiety and living on a horse farm and some of the adventures she encounters.
Great book. And when did you write this book?
Oh, I'd say it was probably a 2-year process. So probably started about 2.5 years ago.
I see. And, you had described the rationale behind writing this book. You said you had watched many kids struggle to find themselves represented in popular culture. You decided to look for books where characters face types of adversity that you saw challenging children every day. You really couldn't find that book, so you just decided to write that book yourself.
Yes, that was the inspiration. I'm a teacher in an urban school district. I deal with a lot of students who've overcome a lot of adverse childhood events. I'm a parent myself as well as a foster parent, and a lot of those students don't see their struggles mirrored in popular culture, and certainly not with a positive spin or outcome. So that was my inspiration.
And tell us a little bit, what type of struggles and challenges, sort of, as you were watching children undergo these struggles and challenges, what type of struggles and challenges were there?
Well, I would say that the child that was the inspiration for this book was dealing with anxiety, but also we have a character in the first book that's dealing with cerebral palsy and some physical challenges. I have students who are dealing with mental health challenges, and that's not often discussed, at least not in a positive manner, on TV or in books or magazines, as well as students who've had parents who are struggling with drugs or alcoholism or homelessness or poverty, and some of those topics are going to actually pop up in the second book in the series.
Okay, so those type of challenges and struggles are in this book.
There are quite a few of them. So, and some of the things that I've mentioned as well, the second book, When the Rain Falls, out this summer, is going to address a few of those as well, and I've already got an outline for the third book as well, so I'm hoping to touch upon a lot of those things that perhaps we don't see in children's literature, as well as also having characters from a diverse set of backgrounds.
Now, why is it that you don't see a lot of children's books that address these types of issues? Why in your opinion, is there sort of a lack of diversity with regards to children's books and the characters and addressing these types of challenges and issues?
That's a fabulous question. It's something that my students deal with every day. So I think there's still very much a stigma in talking about mental health issues, as well as perhaps not as much of a stigma, but not wanting to address some of the physical issues that our students might be dealing with, or our children. And oftentimes when I am able to find a story or a book or a character in a movie that is dealing with something out of the ordinary, it's more often the sidekick and not the main character. I also think that sometimes we don't have characters that represent a wide variety of races and ethnicities. And that's why it was important when I was working with my illustrator to make the main character in such a way that she could represent a number of different races, ethnicities, or even somebody who's multiracial, so that the children reading the book could see themselves in her.
So in the main character, Elliot McIntyre, is the main character, is it loosely based on maybe a student that really caught your eye and was, particular inspiration to write the book, or you say it's just a culmination of many students and many different challenges?
I would say that there's a particular person who wasn't a student who is the inspiration, but the book is purely a work of fiction. So there's definitely parts of myself in for example, the horse-loving sister. There are parts of different opportunities and experiences that I've encountered throughout the book. However, it's not anything that mirrors one particular person.
I see. And what type of feedback have you gotten about the book? I can imagine that. I mean, this book is obviously it's very popular, but I imagine it's very well received in many circles because it addresses, in a wonderful manner, it addresses so many different challenges and issues and topics that maybe people know are there, but nobody really has the courage to talk about them. But we had mentioned earlier that you saw that there was a lack of those types of books, so you decided to write a book like that yourself. I imagine people like, someone's finally taken the step forward to do this.
Yes, I would say that one of the most rewarding things that I've heard from a reader was when I was pre-publication with this book, and I had several people who I know and several people in my target audience proofread an early version of this book. And a particular reader told her mother, I think I've been having panic attacks. I've never had a word for it, but when I read this book, that's what's been happening to me. And this particular reader was able to bring that to her parents' attention and address that. And she just hadn't had the words or experience to know that what she was going through had a name and that she could deal with it with her parents. So that's why I do it.
Amazing. I think this is a tremendous book, and we are really excited about the upcoming books that you have. I'm curious, you're a public school teacher and you're a veterinarian, you're a mother, you're a foster parent. Where do you get the time to write these great books?
It's a mystery. Usually I do most of my writing in the summer. I have a laptop and I spend a lot of time typing while my kids are in their various summer activities. So having a portable laptop when I'm sitting on bleachers is quite helpful.
Right. So and your second book you said is coming out this upcoming summer?
Yep, that's correct. So When the Rain Falls will be out. I'm targeting June, perhaps July. And then the next summer, the third book in the series will be out.
I see. So you have 3 books in this series. Are you going to continue, or after 3 books, you're going to end this series and maybe start another series of books?
I have some ideas percolating in my mind, but I think there's going to be at least 4 in this series. I've got some outlines and things that I know even from book 1 what was going to happen in book 2, 3, or 4 along the line. So I'd say there's probably a few books, but I certainly wouldn't rule out starting a new series entirely in addition to that.
I see. Now, are you still you're still a public school teacher, correct?
That is correct.
Now, do you teach from this book? Is this book part of the curriculum for your own students, or maybe some of your colleague teachers teach from this book?
Right now, I teach students who are juniors and seniors in high school, so it's a different age range, and I'm also science and math based, but I would love to see it get into more books, and I've had some success with students reading it and getting into local elementary schools. But it just doesn't happen to be in the age range and topic that I particularly teach in.
I see. Well, obviously, it's a great book. It's doing a lot of good for a lot of people, and I can see that it's inspiring people to come forward with their own stories. And we think you're doing a tremendous job. And for those who are watching and listening to our broadcast, if they want to learn more about you, more about your books, and sort of kind of follow you and your success and the future books that you have coming up, do you have some contact information or a website that they can go to?
Yes, our website is www.jillsammut.com. It's JILLSAMMUT. Also, my email address is jillsammut@yahoo.com. Again, JILLSAMMUT. And you can also follow me on Facebook at The Cloud at the End of My Rainbow, and we have an active page there as well. There's an email list that you can sign up for to get the latest news and events from the website.
Excellent, Jill. Well, I know that we'll definitely be signing up on your website because we want to keep posted about your upcoming books. We think you're doing a tremendous job. We're so excited about The Cloud at the End of My Rainbow, and we're excited about your upcoming book. So thank you so much for being a guest here today for Book Lovers Only Live Radio.
Thank you, Rob.
Take care.
You too. Well,
as you can see, Jill has written a great book, The Cloud at the End of My Rainbow. It is a phenomenal book. It tackles a lot of pretty sensitive issues, and she's doing a great job. I'll read the back of the book. Surrounded by beautiful horses on her mother's farm, Elliot McIntyre should be thrilled. She could ride dozens of show horses every day. Instead, Elliot finds she is terrified of the animals. Unlike her championship-winning younger sister, Daisy, Elliot would rather spend her day sewing or working on art projects. When an intriguing young pianist moves into the neighborhood, the two become fast friends. After the two strike a deal that involves Elliot riding a horse for the first time in years, will their newfound friendship survive? Exciting stuff and a great book. Jill, thank you so much for writing this wonderful book, and we are excited to read more from you. So thank you so much, Jill. And today's final guest grew up in a candy store and has always been able to find the sweet side of life. His creative storytelling for children evolved while teaching at the Claremont School of Theater Arts. As founder and executive director currently of Art Centricity Incorporated, a nonprofit education creative arts immersive environment, he has been able to focus further on child development. His books explore children's feelings about themselves and the world around them, which is a wonderful place indeed. His name is Greg McGoon, and his book, Traveling the Twisting, Troubling Tangalos Trail, is a guide through the messy thoughts we have from day to day, showing us how to be kinder to ourselves and to others as we untangle their paths to a place of self-acceptance and understanding. And we are going to call Greg right now.
Hello?
Hi, Greg.
Yes, this is Greg.
Hey, Greg, this is Rob Brown at For Book Lovers Only Live Radio. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing good here in sunny, beautiful downtown Laurel, Maryland, and happy to chat with you. I basically introduced you to our guest, gave him a little bit of background information, but wanted to hear from you in your own words.
Oh, fantastic. My background is I'm originally from California, and I currently live in New York. I've been in New York since 2008, and I have been writing children's books now for the past 4 years, and my background is actually in performing arts. And then it kind of just naturally led itself into writing for children because I did a lot of theater workshops working with kids, and storytelling evolved out of that. And I just took my experiences on the stage and put them on the page.
Okay, so and you're talking about the Claremont Theater School, the Claremont School of Theater Arts.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, that was a program that I actually was in when I was 10 years old, and I did it for 4 years. And after leaving that, because I became too old to be a part of it, because you had to stop right before you enter high school, I was like, well, I need to keep being involved. And sure enough, I went back the next summer and said, can you put me to work? Can I still be a part of this wonderful program? And they're like, if you want to intern, you're welcome to. And I said, absolutely. And I interned there, and I kept coming back every summer for this theater intensive, and eventually became a teacher at this program as their movement acting coach, and then assistant directing the entire show.
Wow, you moved up pretty rapidly there.
I did. Well, this was over a 16-year period.
Oh, a 16-year period. I see.
It was over, yeah. So I interned up until I graduated high school, and then started in college working as like an assistant teacher, and then as a teacher. And then I moved to New York right after I graduated college in 2008, and I would fly back to California specifically for that program during those months of June, July, and August.
I see. So you had that background, and then you decided, hey, I want to write a book. I want to start writing children's books. And is this your first book, or this is not your first book? You've been writing books for 4 years.
This is not. This is my third book, actually. It's the second book I actually wrote, third book to be released, and it is going to be a part of an ongoing series. and that is the traveling, the twisting, troubling Tangelos Trail. It's a bit of a tongue twister, which I do enjoy.
It is. It is. I love the title of the book. I love the cover of your book too.
Thank you very much. And that is going to be. I actually have the follow-up Tangelos book to be released in a few weeks, and it is another tongue-twisting title, The Trampling, Trembling Tangelo Tale. So that'll be the next of the series of Tangelo books.
Wow, you're giving people's mouths a workout, man.
Yes, I think there's something quite fun about it, and it oddly enough came out organically in this rhyme style alliteration naturally, so I kind of just went with it, and it evolved into this kind of cyclical story of a rhyme in a way, and it really became kind of very significant for me, and these characters have allowed me to evolve and develop what I'm kind of working on with other books.
I see. So tell us a little bit about the characters in the Traveling, Twisting, Troubling Tangelos Trail. Tell us a little bit about the book and the characters and what you want people to get out of the book.
Okay, well, there's a lot to go over on that one.
Yeah. You can condense it down, but yeah.
The book features the Tangelo characters, and the Tangelos are these little like creatures that live inside everyone's mind, not just children, but adults. Everybody has these Tangelos in them, and what they are is they're these creatures that twist and turn and tangle all of your thoughts and your worries and your doubts and your concerns and get them kind of knotted. And those feelings that we have when we kind of feel stuck or a little trapped or whatever it is that kind of is that daunting thing lurking in our mind, it's from the Tangelos, kind of their behavior of this twisting and turning, and they feed off of that negative energy. And the book is to showcase how we may be tangled from time to time in all these thoughts and things feel daunting and overwhelming. But if we look at everything and maybe the individual threads, and we can kind of piece that apart and work to unravel that to make things feel a little less troubling, as the Tangelos aren't necessarily good or bad, they just exist, and they feed off of, as I mentioned, negative energy, but also they feed on positive energy, which helps with the untangling process. So the book goes into almost like this kind of journey of like self-discovery through it, where it asks more questions than it does give you solutions per se, because I think for everyone, their own daily life, and for children and everything that goes on in their minds, is a very personal experience. And I think it's important to allow people to have that discussion. And I like the book for the reason of its ability to open up a discussion and talk about the Tangelos and what they're twisting and what they're turning. And for children, it's a fun way for them to kind of open up and maybe share and take some of the burden off of themselves, where they can look at it and go like, well, the Tangelos are twisting these up, and see how maybe that can be unraveled, and how that can how they can kind of find something within their mind that can ease worries and doubts. And I think for parents too, and I've gotten comments from parents who actually very much enjoy reading the book and connect with it too, and take the time to reflect on their own worries and doubts and daily strain. And the Tangelos kind of connect on both for adult and parent. And I think what's important is the book is not intended to be just given to a kid and say, go read, but to really be a tool for engagement, where you sit down and you can read it with a child, and it allows for that discussion, as well as it challenges children by some of the word use, where it's a little bit bigger words but paired and rhymed with more familiar words that they can then grow with. And they may not understand all of it at 3 years old or 4 years old, but if they hear it then, and the older they get, it can kind of follow along throughout their growth. And that's something I all took into consideration while I was working on it.
I think this book does so many different things on so many different levels. I mean, I loved it when I was reading it, and you're right. It's a children's book, but at the same time, adults can get a lot of value and benefit from it as well.
Thank you. It surely has helped me in many ways when I was writing it, and I just was writing it on a whim. I actually wrote that story while I was sitting on the subway in New York, while I was just kind of going over some ideas for a workshop with kids I was working on in New York. And I was sitting on the subway, and my mind was racing and spinning, and I just wanted to undo all that somehow. And I was talking to kids earlier, and I was trying to come up with activities, and that's how the character came to be, just sitting on the subway and feeling tangled and not so happy or low. And I looked at those two words, and the tangelos just existed, of this idea of tangle and tangled feelings and feeling low. And together that kind of formed this creature that I said, oh my goodness, let's try to unpack this and let's try to do this. And I've worked with kids now for many years, since I wasn't a kid, and the strain and what they go through now, especially with the virtual world that is introduced to them at such an early age now, the pressures on them are constantly mounting, and there is this growing distance and reliance on technology and social media, and a lack of accountability when you can kind of hide behind devices. And the tangelos are a way to step outside of that for a minute. And that's something that I wanted for myself, and something that I try to talk to kids about when I am working on them. And in a theater capacity, it's a very open environment. And because of that, sometimes they're a little how do you kind of get them out of their shell in order to talk and use their imagination and play. And the tangelos started being a tool that I could use to kind of help them showcase their imagination and get that comfort of knowing that they can build trust with other people and communicate. And I think that's kind of sometimes lacking in our current society, is communication. And I hope that if we can kind of start teaching children any tool that can help aid that, is significant in their development and in their growth, and hopefully can lead to generations that rebuild communication and learn how to use communication while still utilizing rather than abusing the technological kind of virtual world that we're living in.
Right. What a phenomenal book, The Tangelos. Once again, I love this book. It does so many different things, and so many different types of people can get value out of this book. We think you've done just an awesome job and are so excited and happy about that, and looking forward to future books from you as well. And for those who are watching and listening to our broadcast, they want to learn more about you, want to learn more about The Tangelos. You have contact information and websites?
Yes, you can find out more about all of my books and upcoming projects on gregmcgoon.com, GREGMCGOON.com, and also you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the McGoonies. So the McGoonies, McGoonies.
Great. Greg, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We really enjoy The Tangelos, and looking forward to speaking with you again for your upcoming books.
Thank you so much. I loved speaking with you, and look forward to listening to the show and the rest of your shows as well. I love it.
Great. Thank you, Greg. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Well, as you can see, we have two great authors here, Jill Sammet and Greg McGoon. They've written amazing books. Both of them are available at our website at www.forbookloversonly.com. That's www.forbookloversonly.com. So thanks so much for tuning in. A special thanks to our authors, Jill Sammet and Greg McGoon. Please pick up a copy of their books. We are now out of time, but be sure to join us next week for more books and more authors. My name is Rob Brown, your internet radio host and chief book lover, and this is For Book Lovers Only Live Radio, where if you love books, we have a home for you. We'll see you next week.